Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Both Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi have failed us thus far on a second stimulus package. The House is debating the next stimulus package on the floor at the time of this recording. Also, if you want to know why I shaved, I will explain that in detail in this video. I will also talk about Judge Barrett, Tesla news for tomorrow, and other news. First, Steve Mnuchin promised to provide us a $1.6 trillion package with an escalator clause that would have increased his stimulus counteroffer size in the event the pandemic continued on to a number much closer to what Nancy Pelosi seeks. Nancy Pelosi seeks $2.2 trillion. Steve Mnuchin's plan was expected to be as high as $2.2 trillion with an escalator. However, his escalator never made it into his offer, and instead he's stuck at $1.62 trillion. Now, at this point, Nancy Pelosi has agreed to negotiate, but at the same time as she says she agrees to negotiate, she is stating in interviews that when asked if something is better than nothing, is a compromise better than nothing at all, she says the answer is no, because of, quote, the opportunity cost. Nancy Pelosi believes doing a smaller deal only unfairly helps some and does not help everybody who is in need. Pelosi demands further funding for schools, food aid, nutrition, and housing support than Republicans are willing to give. She also demands significantly more state and local government funding to prepare for potential shortfalls in budgets going forward. This is something Republicans are very anti. Nancy Pelosi's last phone call was held at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, this is what the inside of the counteroffer looks like. I threw it on a flowchart for us to make this very simple and easy. This is what the counteroffer looks like. $300 billion for stimulus checks. Those would be similar to the CARES Act. That's $1,200 and $500 for dependents with nothing for ITAN filers. That is the expectation for the Republicans' counteroffer. $300 billion for unemployment at $400 per week and with a shorter duration. Democrats want until the end of January. This would end January 1st, and it would also begin a week later. It would begin September 13th rather than September 6th, as Democrats desire. $250 billion for state and local aid. Democrats demand $417 billion. $160 billion for industries like the airline industry and restaurant industry. The restaurant industry is dying without more support. $150 billion for education, $75 billion for COVID testing. By the way, on education, Democrats are seeking just over $200 billion. $60 billion in rental aid and housing aid. $50 billion for healthcare providers, $50 billion for vaccines, $25 billion for childcare, $15 billion for rural broadband, $13 billion for paid leave, and there is also money for the post office in both proposals, though Republicans have offered $5 billion less than what Democrats are seeking. However, rather than continue discussions on this counteroffer, now the House of Representatives instead is debating the HEROES Act, the updated version, ignoring the Republican counteroffer, which honestly means that any bill that Democrats pass in the House will almost certainly be dead on arrival. Now, no guarantees, but it's likely that this is bad news. If the House passes a bill and there is no deal between Mnuchin and Pelosi, we're not looking good for getting stimulus prior to the election. This morning, someone stated that the House of Representatives, this was from YouTube, the House of Representatives delayed voting because they wanted to clarify details on the stimulus package. This is incorrect. The House of Representatives delayed voting a day because they realized by voting on a deal when there is no deal between Mnuchin and Pelosi, they're wasting their time. That's why when talks broke down yesterday, the House of Representatives leadership said, let's give it one more day. They're not waiting for details. They're waiting for a verbal deal, much like us. That's what we need right now. We don't need debating on the floor. We don't need a bill that's passed. There's going to be a lot of clickbait when the House passes this stimulus bill, but it's actually bad news, not good news. Additionally, this morning, there was a statement on YouTube that Nancy Pelosi lost sleep because of stimulus negotiations. This is also incorrect. Nancy Pelosi has lost sleep over the debates. She stated that numerous times, and if you do a very quick Google, Nancy Pelosi lost sleep, you'll see like 30 different articles and quotes about this. It all relates back to the debate. This is heavily because Nancy Pelosi is very firm on her position that she wants a $2.2 trillion deal, and she believes that if Republicans don't act now, there will be a better opportunity in the future to provide the proper stimulus that's needed. But as usual, it's very common for people to misquote politicians to help them sensationalize the news. My focus is the facts and analysis and not emotion. Kevin McCarthy says Wednesday that he put a discharge petition on the floor of the House to bypass Nancy Pelosi. Every single Democrat voted against this, and the discharge petition failed. Most Republicans in general do not want to spend more than $2 trillion on any bill. This is a red line. Nobody wants to see a 2 in the front, is what the consensus is amongst Republicans. And even at 1.6, many Republicans are concerned, as there are many who do not want to spend more than $1 trillion. Most Republicans are also seeking liability protections, which is not in Nancy Pelosi's offer. Kevin McCarthy says Nancy Pelosi keeps making roadblocks higher. His quote, Mitch McConnell says that individuals with pre-existing conditions will not be a problem before the court under a Judge Barrett. Senator Schumer stated that Nancy Pelosi and Mnuchin used to talk 4 to 5 times per day, that they all want a deal. But as of right now, there are many issues that they're in a disagreement on, but it's not just them. They need to get their entire party on board. Tomorrow, Tesla is expected to release how many vehicles it delivered last quarter, and this target is expected to smash previous records, though the stock has been straight up for about 8 days now. My guess is if Tesla delivered under 130,000 vehicles, the stock could slide. If it delivers more than 150,000 vehicles, the stock could jump. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, why did I shave? 12 weeks ago, I was approached for an important interview. When I said that I would not shave until we got a check, I thought there was no way in hell Congress would not pass a stimulus package in 12 weeks. This was in July. In July, before Congress and the Senate went back to work after their long recess. This was when we were still making jokes about playing on the playground before the HEALS Act. This was quite a while ago, and I think all of us thought there's no way a deal's not going to happen in August. Oh, well, a deal didn't happen in August. There's no way a deal's not going to happen in September. Now, I also believed with all of my heart that this week we would see a stimulus bill pass. And so I made the decision thinking to myself, there's a 90% certainty that this stimulus package will pass this week. I decided all we need is positive thinking and we'll get this done. Obviously, looking back, and now I look like the asshole and an idiot. And I realized that, and it sucks. It's been eating away at me all day long. But when it came time to make the decision, I thought to myself, I've believed in the secret in the past. When I made $8 an hour, and I thought optimistically that one day, somehow, I'll make $300,000 per year because I liked the movie 300. That was my rationale. I had no idea that would ever happen. Well, in 3 years of being a real estate agent, that happened. When I put on the wall that I wanted to make $500,000 a year as a real estate agent in one December, that dream came true the very next year. And when I looked at my beard, I made the decision that if I break my word, maybe if there's any good that comes out of this, it'll be the positivity that we could put the stimulus god to work, and maybe with the power of positive thinking, something will actually happen. Well, folks, I got screwed, and I'm very sorry.